Swinging a ground ball, stabbed by Folk. He has it. He underhands to first, and the Boston Red Sox are the world champions for the first time in 86 years.
Together they have, and together they stand alone on top of the mountain for now. And once again, the Boston Celtics stand alone for all time. It is banner 18.
No icing. For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
And a title for the Patriots!
I can't believe it!
They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
Good morning, listeners. Date is Monday, September 2nd. Happy Labor Day to everybody, and welcome in to episode 35 of a New Era podcast. My name is Hanson, better known as Fryddy online, and I am joined here by my co-host, my dad, the OG Frid. Dad, would you like to say hello to the listeners this morning?
Yeah, good morning, listeners. Good morning there, Hanson. Special Labor Day sports edition coming at you. First holiday episode we've done.
Yeah, first one on a holiday, but we've obviously made it through some holidays so far, like July 4th.
Oh, wait a minute.
And like Easter.
Oh,
did we do one like
no,
on?
wait a minute. We did a Memorial. No, I don't think we did Memorial Day.
No,
That's
because
right,
we were out.
You were
Right?
you were in Indianapolis.
Yeah, so we did it the one before. So, yeah, we finally have the luxury of doing it because we have the day off, and we didn't have to get up and do this way too early. We're like, hey, we'll just get to it, and we get to it.
Yeah.
I used that time to sleep in. I knew you texted me around the same time, and I was like, well, what the fuck is the point of not doing the podcast at 7:30 if I still get a text at 7:30? Are we doing the podcast?
Well, I didn't know.
I think you
I
should
mean,
just assume I know, yeah, you were ready to move.
I'm up. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Well, now I'm up. Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to talk sports. So let's jump right into it. We'll start off here. As we're winding down in the baseball season, it's not looking so hot for the Sox, Dad. What did we say last week? We said if we got to this point and we were still how many games out?
Well,
we said 5.5 or more. We said we were going to be done, and it's 4.5.
It's 4.5. So we gained a game from last week. What really killed us was Saturday's game with us
Saturday and yesterday, bro. And we shouldn't have lost the series to the Tigers.
Well, no, we shouldn't. But Saturdays, both Minnesota got clobbered and Kansas City lost to Houston. I was watching that.
So you're scoreboard
MLB.
watching now. Now it's getting to that time. You're scoreboard watching.
Yep. I saw it on MLB, and I'm like, "Ooh, Toronto killed Minnesota." And yeah, at the time, the Astros were up 5-1. I'm like, "Well, that's probably in hand. We got to turn this around." And by losing by one run, I mean, we could have gained another one. So, but overall, a shit week.
Shit week. We lose.
So
what is this?
So
2?
technically.
Oh yeah. So what happens here? Because I forget about.
So Monday's game actually was back in June.
Yes, but that still affected our record. Like we still gained the game back.
It affects the record and all. And the time, but yet that was back in June's. So we were going into the game with the second game loss. That was a 4-game losing streak going into Tuesdays. Not a 5 because the earlier game
that doesn't count. Yep.
Goes back to June 26th.
Well, yeah, it's not that it doesn't count, but it was cool watching it because like after the Jansen thing, like I was watching it for that, obviously, but then everybody's talking about, well, you know, this guy technically, he's in a hit streak right now. It was somebody on the Jays, I think, or something. Like they're in a hit streak right now with 17 games, but he can go hitless this game. It won't matter because this goes back to June, so this won't count toward his history, which is kind of cool to think about. It's like, you know, imagine if somebody had a hit streak up until like from there to now, and then they had a hit streak before that, and then it retroactively goes back, and they're like, now I have a 90-game hit streak just because I got a hit in the game on the 26th. It's kind of wild. But I understand like how the stats work.
It's for all the sports. I think baseball stat wise. I mean, I grew up just immersed in stats because we didn't have the computer and couldn't look it up. You'd grab the sporting news or a newspaper and just look at stats and learn how to do a pitcher's ERA versus and a batting average and all that. And in knowing that, you get a suspended game on June 26th, played on August 26th, but yet any of those stats, any of that game goes all the way back in the past, not current. So if you did get a hit that game, you could have increased your hitting streak back at that point or whatnot. It's just, and the interesting thing is the pitcher for the Blue Jays actually pitched the game on the 27th, but he was the scheduled starter and had an innings worth on the 26th.
Do you know who it was? I can't remember. I want to find him now because I want to go back and look at his game log. It's going to be like June 26th, June 27th, 2 like 5-inning games. That's crazy. I was going to say something. Now I forgot. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, just about like the scorecards and stuff. Not only was that game historical because of the whole Jansen thing, they were talking about, I think Jansen's the ball that struck out the guy or whatever is going in the Hall of Fame because technically that's the at bat. And I know the scorecard for the game, at least for Jansen's, is going in the Hall of Fame because he was on both teams, which is really cool. I was loving it when you were watching the Nesson broadcast. The first thing they brought in there as Jansen's coming up, he's like, everybody, y'all got to remember this because in 10 years, this is going to be a fucking awesome trivia question. What MLB player was the only player to ever play for the same team in 2 games? And at least we'll be able to pull that out of nowhere.
And on top of it, then you had the second game in which they had the 2 women broadcasters that are doing the AA Portland Sea Dogs. They called that game, or at least a portion of that game.
Cool stuff.
And more history? You want more history going?
Sure.
I saw this as well. So Jaron Duran does it again. Once again. He is the first player in Major League history. Now, this is the first, both AL and NL, to have done 10 triples, 20 home runs, 30 stolen bases, and 40 doubles.
That's history. He's pretty good. He's pretty good at baseball.
And yet you have a career year. You've done 2 things this year that's never happened before, at least in the AL, 1 and then both Major League, and you probably only get 5 or in the top 5 in voting for the MVP.
Yeah, well, that's just what happens when you're doing this the same time that Aaron Judge is alive. Like, I feel it sucks. Baseball's cool. I've talked about this with, I think, Josh before something. The fact that Judge and Ohtani in their respective leagues are so just valuable and influential is great for the game of baseball. It's cool that we've got these just unbelievable athletes. But for anybody else in the AL or the NL for the next 5, for the last, like, what feels like 5 years and what might be for the next 5, like, you can have an incredible year like Durant's having, and it's just going to be overshadowed by these guys that are consistently not even just good, but great at what they do. And that's also just how the game is growing. I mean, in 10 years, we're going to be looking back and it's going to be like, oh, you remember, you remember that Aaron Judge guy? Well, now this guy's hitting 400 for 3 straight seasons. And I mean, Judge right now, much as we hate him as a Yankees fan, this might be like the best hitting that you've seen, like prime hitter that you've seen out of a guy. Aaron Judge is phenomenal. He really is. And he's making great contact with the ball. He is a threat every time he gets up there. He faced Patrick Corbin last week I think it was on like Wednesday or something. He was plus 105 to go out of the yard. Plus 105 to hit a homer. That's ridiculous. We never see odds like that. It's one of the best hitting performances we've seen in a season ever, but he continues to get better.
And for a guy of his height, weight, his size, and playing center field, it's amazing what this athlete can do. And I mean, Major League Baseball, at least on MLB, and maybe on Fox, you see some of the commercials, but they are trying to do their best, especially now that we're in football season, to try and make this sport relevant again, and just using Judge and Ohtani as, once in a lifetime type of players, seeing history all the time. I mean, I really wish, they would, elevate Duran in his performance a little bit more as well. Again, these things, 150 plus years. We were just talking, I'm continuing to watch the Galarraga 28 out game back in 2010 for the Detroit Tigers, and how they were. It's actually on ESPN, and it's basically how a class in Monmouth College in New York did a 80-page paper to try and reverse this, and I'm about halfway through, but they said the teacher had mentioned that in 150 years, only 25 perfect games have ever been. It's so rare. So, again, having 150, that was 2010. So now you're at 160 years plus of baseball, and you get Jarren Duran having a type of year that he's done. And again, Ohtani never doing, no one ever doing 40-40. He'll probably do 50-50. It's cool. I like the fact that we're doing this podcast, makes us watch baseball more. It is neat that our Sox are at least around there, and we'll get more into it, what we feel going forward. But it's great to see baseball trying to be a player in the top three major, or top four. Yeah, obviously hockey, but I think hockey will always stay a fourth. But
at least
baseball. Can baseball try and be a tie for second? I don't know.
What would be interesting is, and I haven't done fantasy baseball in probably 3 years, and I don't intend on doing it. It's like that with fantasy basketball too, because it's every day. I like fantasy football. I get to just focus on like my Thursdays, my Sundays, and my Mondays. But if I'm setting lineups every day, it's a lot. Outside of that, fantasy baseball is very fun, and I would love to see where Duran goes like next year when you start off draft, because you got to think, he's starting his rise. We've known, we've seen it coming, but outside of the Aaron Judge, the Ohtani, and probably like the Mookie Betts, I'd love to know where outside of that, under that, where Duran's going in that, because he's got to go first round. I think I can't remember how far, like where you go for pitchers, but in my mind, I think I remember like you draft pitchers like you do quarterbacks in fantasy. Like you're going for the best hitters the first couple rounds, then you're going for the aces. So I would think Duran would be a first round pick next year. And once we get into the time when fantasy baseball drafts start and we're doing this podcast and stuff, I'd love to see some mock drafts and see where they have them in that first. So, okay, well, 3-4 last week. Let's look ahead to this week now. We've got a 3-game set. We're starting against the Mets today in New York. And then we have a 3-game set against the White Sox starting on Friday to Sunday. So 6 games. Need a 4-2 week. I'm going to say 4-2 because we need it. I think you go 2-1 against the Mets. And after that terrible week, you are gifted a series against the White Sox that you have to sweep at home. You have to sweep this series.
Absolutely. And then that will lead you into the Orioles back at home because you got the Orioles and then Yankees. Yeah.
And then a Twins a little farther along in September at the end. So that's what you got to get these games so that you can stick around with the Twins and make that jump in that 3-game series there at the end. If you go into that series down 2.5 games, you give yourself a shot to sneak in there at the end. So,
oh yeah, and nothing.
You're good with it.
So this is it.
Yeah, like this week is huge. Then we got those 2 tough series against the O's and the Yanks. Rays shouldn't be too much of a problem. They've thrown up the white flag. And you got Twins, Blue Jays, Rays again. We're getting down to the end, man. It's crazy. It's coming up right before you know it. But you got 4-2 for us this week too?
Yeah, I do. Like you, I think
I could see us also going 1-2 against the Mets. I want 4-2, but I could see a 3-3. But you don't gain any gains in that situation.
Yeah, I think the sweep against the White Sox and
that's crucial.
1-2, and a 1.
Even if you go 1-2 against the Mets, you need to sweep the White Sox.
Right. Even if obviously all games are crucial at this point. But if you're going to lose to anyone, at least lose to that league.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you're playing anyone in this league. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who does Kansas City and.
Oh, you're looking at Minnesota too?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at Kansas City Royals.
Schedule. Kansas City plays Cleveland right now. Minnesota is playing at Tampa Bay. I think they both start a 3-game set.
Oh, this is awesome. Okay. So Kansas City is going, as you said, Cleveland for 3, then Minnesota.
Let's go. Okay.
Oh, yeah, even more crucial that we have to sweep Chicago because if we sweep them,
one of these
even
teams
if they go, yeah, it'll be 2-1 one way or a sweep on the other. We can catch one of those at that point.
I'm telling you, the schedule keeps gifting us these opportunities.
And then Kansas City, while we're playing Baltimore, Kansas City is playing the Yankees.
Beautiful. Beautiful. This is our last shot. I know we've been saying it. We said it a couple weeks ago when we had that Kansas City thing, and we were like, oh, got to beat them after the All-Star break. We've been gifted these opportunities, and this might be the last one we have up until that Twins series. Need to take advantage this week.
Yeah, because then Minnesota has the Rays, the Royals, as we just spoke about, and then they have the Angels.
Angels could sneak one out of them, but all right. Well, I mean that's at least not as concerning. That makes me feel a lot better about this week. Just need to see it. Cannot have a shit week like last week.
We have to have a positive. We can't go 500. Has to positive.
Yep. All right. You got anything else about the Sox?
No.
Cool. All right. So let's go recap on college football week 1 that just occurred this weekend. So we went over some of the games. So yeah, this is last week. Now I'm looking at Thursday or some of the games. I'm just going to run through here. Missouri 51-0 over Missouri over Murray State. Utah also beat the shit. All of these fucking ranked teams. Kansas beat the shit out of Lindenwood. NC State beat the shit out of Western Carolina. In the 4th, they were getting tight there for a little bit. Oklahoma absolutely murdered Temple. Oregon, tight game against Idaho. Scary, maybe. Dylan Gabriel still put up some good stuff, though. Georgia absolutely ravaged Clemson. That wasn't even close. Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, they're doing what they should. Georgia. Ole Miss put up 76 points on Furman. Did you see that?
Well, I noticed that at the first half, because I was flipping through ESPN Plus, and I went, oh, let's see the Ole Miss, and I went 52-0 at half. I'm like,
yeah,
man.
I think Jackson Dart had 418 yards and 6 total touchdowns at half. He did not even play the second half. He's got to be leading the Heisman race after week 1 because he was just phenomenal. Best game of the night, Notre Dame did beat Texas A&M. If you listen to this pod, we told you this last week. We said this was a mispriced game. Notre Dame should have never been plus money. You could have taken this to the bank. I even doubled down on it more. I had Notre Dame before the game, and at halftime, I bet Notre Dame again. Doubled down on it, and it worked out for me. Michigan had a tight one against Fresno State. Tennessee, poor Chattanooga. Oklahoma State did their business against South Dakota State. Kansas State, I didn't even know they were playing. Miami, Florida, disappointing game. Florida is on my shit list. Florida is the only thing that kept me from winning a 5-leg parlay that we cooked up Friday night. Did everything else. I had Notre Dame parlay, or I had Notre Dame money line, Penn State minus 7.5, the under in the ECU game, the under in the Iowa-Illinois State game, and Florida money line. And not only did they lose the game, they looked fucking terrible at home. Florida's going to be a bad team this year, and whoever their coach, Billy Napier, I think, he'll be fired by week 5. I'm going to tell that right now. He'll be fired midseason. Arizona 61-39. This guy, I can't remember how to say his name. Tate something McMillan. I don't know. 10 receptions, 304, 4 touchdowns. First thing I saw after this game was a bunch of people editing him into Patriots uniforms. So they're already looking to grab this guy in the first or the second round. Iowa 40-0 over Illinois State. And then last night, to end off week 1, USC beats LSU 27-20 in a comeback. Great game. I don't know if you watched that one, but that was definitely a good one. We got one more this week. It is the underwhelming Florida State Seminoles against Boston College again tonight. We got the spread at minus 14, over under 49.5. I think we talked about this last week, and I think we were both on Boston College plus 16. Yeah. But after seeing week 1, seeing some of the chaos that went on, do you have any different thoughts about the spread, about what's going on tonight, and which way are you leaning, Dad?
I think I would still take Boston College, the points there. What was interesting was the powerhouse teams obviously took care of smaller schools. Obviously, we saw some incredible large numbers. Michigan, Oregon, little concerning about those, how tight those games really were. Obviously, if you look at the games of the week, the Notre Dame, Texas A&M, that was a fun game. USC, LSU was a fun game. Another actually entertaining game was Vanderbilt and Virginia.
Yeah.
Tech.
What? I
Very
wasn't watching
awesome game.
Because I was at the tailgate, but I was keeping up with this one on my phone. We had a bunch of people around that, like, we started tailgating in a new spot. A bunch of people had TVs out there, and I was like, dude, I got to make friends with somebody because this game is fucking close, and Vanderbilt's about to beat at minus 14.
It was a very awesome game. I know that, obviously, Vanderbilt, you like that because you were thinking about going to that school, and absolutely having, I think the coach and obviously the quarterback came from, I think it was New Mexico or something, but yeah, absolutely a fun game. Vanderbilt had the shot to win it in regulation time, missed the kick, and then the defense actually just smothered the quarterback. They had a little, I think, quarterback injury. Their starter was trying to come in and out and just not available to make the plays, especially in overtime. But that was, Vanderbilt could be sneaky.
Could they be?
In that SEC. Yeah.
Okay. That's something I never thought I'd hear.
I know. But I mean, the way that offense ran and that quarterback ran, he had 100 plus in both passing and rushing.
Bet of the day. I'm putting it in right now. Oh, I get a boost on this too, actually. It's It's Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback for Boston College. It's over 59 rushing yards today. We saw Florida State get absolutely torn up by Hayes King on the ground last week, and Georgia Tech. Whoop! I muted myself there. I forgot. I thought Florida State had a good rushing defense. It turns out they don't. So I think Castellanos is going to run it through the air. He's a great guy on the ground already. Last year, great dual threat quarterback. Multiple games going above 60, multiple games going above 100 on the ground. I don't think the Florida State D-line is going to be able to keep up with them. And even if BC gets down a little bit and they're going to have to throw, I'm thinking, Castellanos got to get out, trying to make something happen. Can't see anybody downfield, run up, take 5. He's going to get a couple easy ones. So I love that today. All right, but we're good on this week then. We can move on to week 2.
Yeah, and then at the end, I want to hear about your Pirates.
Oh, well, we can talk about them now because it's week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. The East Carolina Pirates are going to the college football playoff. That's what I have to think about it. Great game, 42-3 win over Norfolk. The offense.
We watched it.
So much different. You see how fast they're moving now? This is college football. This is the fucking ECU Pirates football that I like to see. They are slinging it. They are running. There was somebody when I was tailgating out there, he was like, yeah, I was hearing stuff all throughout the offseason, just how fast this offense is. That, like, people are, you are down on the ground getting tackled, and they are lining up for the next play already. And I was like, I'm so ready to see an up-tempo Pirates offense. And they were flying up 28-3 at half. The one complaint that I have and everybody else is going to have is 6 turnovers, 3 really bad picks by Jake Garcia, but I imagine that's just going to happen when you're running really a high tempo. It's his first game in it. He's getting that chemistry with his quarterbacks or with his wide receivers. I think he'll be all right. I think those are mistakes you can easily clean up and just not forcing passes. But even without that, 4 touchdowns. Defense was phenomenal. Helped them to like under 175 yards total. The under was so free, and apparently the spread was too. I thought they were going to cover. No, even Pirates covered. People were shitting on me in the parking lot, before we started the game, because I was out here and I was like, hey, everybody's 0-0, and until the Pirates have a loss, you can't tell me we're not going to make the college football playoff. And they're like, well, you're just bullshit. And I'm like, all right, well, what happens after a 42-3 win? Because last year we're losing that game 27-10. That's what happens to last year's Pirates team. So, no, I'm very excited about it. We got ODU next week at ODU. It's only a 2.5-hour drive. I consider maybe making it. Probably not. I'll probably just watch it. But win that one, then you come back home against App State week 3. That's the big one. That's the big one.
Some of the really interesting stats that I saw. The broadcasts were saying ECU's are on pace for 75 offensive plays, and when you saw the stats regarding yards and all, the interesting thing at one point, I think it was probably obviously in the third at some point, Norfolk State had time of possession at 18:39, maybe it was, and ECU was at 18:11. Yeah, so they're obviously not going to win. They're not going to win time of possession at all with this new offense. And you've been saying this ever since you went to the school.
I have.
It wasn't the head coach. You kept on yelling, "Get rid of your
needed
OC."
A quarterback, and needed a quarterback and needed an OC. I was so sick of Donnie Kirkpatrick and John David Baker, I think is his name. He is the savior here. You're talking about time of possession. It ended Norfolk State 36-25, ECU 23-35. Big thing, third down efficiency. And this is where I think if the defense can play this week like they did, obviously offense went over 500 total yards. Phenomenal stuff. But if the defense can play how they did this week, we're going to I said starting the year, I thought our floor was 7-5. I thought our ceiling was 9-3. Okay, I think that's fair. Even coming off of a year of 2-10, we held them to 1-18 third down efficiency. That is crazy. I have not seen shit like that before. It was 114 total yards, not 175. They had 71 through the air and 43 on the ground on 49 or 45 rushing attempts, 1 yard per rush.
Yeah.
So that was awesome stuff. The last thing I'll say that was very confusing to me. I was really expecting to see more of Javius Bond, Rajay Harris in the backfield. True freshman London Montgomery took 14 carries. Outsnapped or outran a lot of these other guys. I don't know if it's just because we were blowing him out or if he's just going to be a featured back, but that was interesting stuff to me. 14 carries for 67 yards. Rajay was the next with like 6 rushes. It's a little confusing, but good to know we have a nice backfield.
Right, but I think Najee Harris is still going to be obviously your, maybe not your featured back.
No, but he's like the power back.
But he's going to be, and he's going to be in more series due to the way that he can pick up any blitzes and block.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think you found a quarterback.
I think we did. I like Jake. I'm gonna go through this slate here. We got a good amount of them for any game that looks like we'd like to, care about it, right?
All right,
I'll give you the lines.
I'm on the CBS one. Should I do another?
I'm on ESPN. I'm on ESPN. I mean, I'll tell you the lines. We'll just go through here quick. Tell me which lean you like.
And my brain doesn't always work, but
I know. ESPN College Football Scoreboard.
Oh, here we go.
All right, and you're looking at FBS.
Oh no, this is pro. I'm sorry, this is pro.
Here, I'll just send you the link. Look in the chat. In the podcast room chat. Oh, he can't operate ESPN scoreboard. Oh my God, this is gonna be a long football season.
I had to move my mouse all the way across. Sorry.
You're good.
All right, now it's loading. It's thinking. All right.
All right. So starting at the top. There's only 3 games Friday. I think we only care about 2 of them, maybe. Duke, Northwestern. Northwestern favored by 3 points. Total 38.5. What do you like?
I think over.
Really? I feel like that's the weird pick. I feel like they're almost asking you to go under with a 38.5. But I like your thinking because sometimes you see these lines from Vegas and you're like, they are asking you to hit under 38.5. And they know this game could be like a 23-20 sort of shit.
Yeah. They'll both be in the 20s. It very well could be a close game, but I think both are going to go into the 20. I don't think either team, I think either Northwestern surprised and scored a little bit more than I thought.
They scored like 13 points. 13-6.
Oh, was it 13?
Yeah, and Duke won, I think, 26-3 over Elon.
Yeah. I just think that unless Duke starts going, oh, look at that's Lake Erie, because that amazing. Everyone is just talking about how cool the stadium is, but you're not going to have the atmosphere for Northwestern because you're not won't.
However, that stadium. This was something I saw before this year started, and it was the thought to take unders in that stadium because it is so open. They have a lot of wind coming in there that could be bad for throwing the ball and especially for kicking. So I understand why this under may be pretty low here. I don't know. I'll have to talk myself in and out of the over going through this week. But regardless, I think I'd take Duke +3.
Yeah.
I think they could win this game. And they do this like every year against Northwestern. And I feel like, Malik Murphy, I think they can move it around enough. I think they can beat them. So I would probably take Duke +3, but it's not one of my favorites. All right, next one. Well, this was at 7, so this is before. But BYU at SMU. SMU -10 over under 54.5.
-10?
-10.
I think I take BYU.
Okay. I think I'm just taking the over.
Yeah, I think SMU will probably win, but I will take
You'll take the
BYU
points.
and the points. Yep.
Okay. Nice stuff. All right, moving on to Saturday. I'm just going through here with the teams that I have like marked stuff too. ECU ODU. We gotta ask about it. ECU spread is now ECU -2.5 over under 50.5. When these lines opened on Saturday night, ECU was actually the underdog by 3 points. So this moved a lot in favor of the Pirates.
Take the Pirates.
You taking the Pirates -2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will too, and I think I might put this in
that's almost
soon
at
to
this
get
point.
to get the hook.
I mean, at this point, it's almost a pick'em game, and you're playing Old Dominion. I mean, that's right around where Houston took his JMU team, right there in Virginia, and around there. Not a homecoming, but almost a homecoming for him.
They did play South Carolina
this.
pretty tough this week, though. 23-19 loss, but yeah, I think you still take the Pirates points. All right. This one's supposed to be later, but I'm going to just do it now. Oregon, number 3 Oregon is hosting Boise State at 10 p.m. Oregon -18.5. Total is set at 61.5. Keep in mind, this also includes the Ashton Jeanty running back who had like 6 fucking touchdowns for Boise State. He is probably neck and neck with Jackson Dart for number 1 in the Heisman race right now through 1 week.
I would probably take the under in this.
Oh, he's getting sharp. I know everybody wants to be on the over, I bet.
No, I'd take the under.
I think the Oregon defense kind of stands up a little bit against Boise.
That, and I don't know if this Oregon offense right now has found its footing and what they want to do. So, yeah, I don't think it'll be close to the over, but it won't hit it.
Okay. All right, so now we're going actually in chronological order on Saturday. The biggest game of the weekend, the one that everybody's been looking forward to for a while since this one got announced. Number 4 Texas travels to Ann Arbor, facing number 9 Michigan. Texas favored by 6.5 points. Over is set at 44.5.
I would probably have to take the over, and I'd probably take Michigan in the points. I think Texas wins. But
I think
6.5. I don't know. I think it might be a 3 or 5 point over.
I think
something freaky will happen in the end.
I might have to go under, and I think I'd also take the Michigan points because I'm seeing something 24-20 Texas, and it barely goes under by the hook. I think that's fair. I think this could be a low scoring, very, just tough game, maybe in the trenches. A lot of running for Michigan. Going to run down the clock. Going to leave less opportunity for Texas to air it out through the air and trying to get above that over and keep the just keep the game moving. I think Michigan's definitely going to dictate the game, dictate the pace at home, but I don't know if they're winning it, especially after how they look this week. Okay, Penn State, Bowling Green, we don't really give a shit about. Oklahoma State, Arkansas is not too bad. At 12 p.m., Arkansas at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State favored by 8.5 points. Total is set at 59.5.
Yeah, I guess I'll go Oklahoma points and 59.5. Yeah, I'll take the over.
Yeah, I mean, these teams combined scored 114 points last week. I don't think either defense is slowing it down. I don't know if I'm taking anything on the spread, but I would look over 59.5 if anything. Kansas State Tulane. Kansas State -10 over under 49.5. Shouldn't be a terrible game.
No, and I think this is a big battle for again, these are not going towards the AAC, but if Tulane loses and they're 1-1, while ECU's 2-0, even though it's outside the conference, but where does that momentum keep on going? You know, if Tulane loses another one and you're now 1-2 going into conference play, now you're going to feel like you have to, even though, I mean, obviously the only way one of these teams makes it is
by winning their division or their conference,
their conference. And and yet I don't even know if, you know, the not the Power Five, but what do you call them?
The Power Four or the Group of Five? The other ones?
The Group of Five. Yeah. I don't know if a Group of Five is actually going to have to win a conference and they get in, or is it?
They will. It'll be their
or is it
thing is like the highest rated. It's the highest ranked Group of Five conference winner. Yeah. So, but you're taking. You said Kansas State. I think. I would. I don't know. I don't like much there. I'd like to see once team total comes out. I might go under Tulane team total. All right, we're skipping a lot of these games because a lot of these don't mean anything really. There's one at 3:30 here. Two at 3:30 that aren't bad. Couple. Baylor at Utah. Utah is favored by 15 points. Over under set at 53.5. What you feeling here?
I'm feeling this is going to be the game that Utah flexes the muscle. They have to do some game at some point to prove themselves, especially in the Big 10, right? Big 12.
But yeah, I'm right there with. I think this is a flex game. This is a Utah. This is a Utah minus whatever. Iowa State at number 25, Iowa. Iowa is favored by 3 points. Over under set at 35.5. Another one. They are just asking you to take that under, just like you do with or want to do with any Iowa game. I don't think you do this one, but I think Iowa -3. What I'm looking at right now might be one of my favorite plays on the board.
Yeah, I agree. I will win, and I would take the over. I mean, Iowa's offense, yes. I mean, again, you're playing competition that you should win, but they
put up 40. Yeah.
Yep. That was surprising.
Definitely. We can look at this one. South Carolina, Kentucky. Kentucky -10, over under 45.5.
In Lexington.
ABC
and
game.
Everyone's picking Kentucky to do well. I'm wondering if this is not.
This is a letdown game.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's I just might not touch this game. I don't know. This gives me weird vibes in that game. -10 shouldn't be. I don't like it. I'm staying away. All right, moving along. Most of these games, damn, we really got treated to a good week 1 slate because some of these are kind of fucking stinky next week, man. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything through 7 that I really care about. There's got to be one. Here we go. That's the big one. Number 15, Tennessee at number 24, NC State in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Tennessee favored by 7.5 points. Over under is set at 59.5.
I didn't watch the Tennessee game.
They look great.
Good. Yeah. Although, and I had lunch on Friday with a bunch of NC State grads, and they were saying the score obviously was a lot. It did not dictate what the game actually was, although Grayson McCall did well. I mean, 318 yards, three touchdowns and a pick.
I mean, Concepcion went crazy, 9 for 121 and 3 touchdowns or something like that too. He might be the best wide receiver in the country.
What's the
7.5 for Tennessee?
And you're coming. I mean, it's almost, hopefully, virtually.
It's almost right in the middle.
For State.
It's almost right in the middle of them both.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, more.
There'll definitely be more State
fans
fans
will go. You know what? Let's say this is the year of the Wolfpack. I don't know, though, if they'll win it, but I'll take the Wolfpack and the points.
Going into college football, I had this game circled because a couple weeks ago, the spread was only Tennessee minus 4.5. And I thought, give me all of those 4.5 points for the NC State Wolfpack. Now, I'm getting 3 more points. I'm getting a full touchdown for State, who I will say, after this week, I get why there's so much line movement. Because after this week, worried me a little bit. Tennessee looks really good. That quarterback they have, Nico, whatever, he might win the fucking Heisman. As soon as his line comes out for his passing yards, I'm hammering the over. I don't care what it is. The line could be 295. I'm hammering the over. I think he goes over. But give me NC State money line this game. Give me money line. You can leave the points at the door. I'm taking the Wolfpack to win this game. Big game. I think the reason why they looked so shitty against Western Carolina last week, they weren't trying to use their full offensive scheme. They weren't trying to give Tennessee a bunch of film on them. I think they just knew they could beat Western Carolina. They don't give a fuck about the spread. They've been looking ahead to this game since mid-fucking May or something. This is what they have circled. I think they come out here, beat Tennessee, and show them that this ain't the same old fucking Wolfpack. This is a different one, and they're going to win the ACC this year.
And can this now? Obviously, you start off. There was only those 3 games on Thursday, and yes, you should be used to playing a Thursday. But could anything have been thought? I mean, you're not with Saturday with everyone that's playing. The big kickoff to college football week 1. Would you play anything into that? Yes, you were at home. You're playing an inferior team, but
I get what you're saying. I think we can't fault State too much for this because, yes, you're playing Thursday. You had a sold-out crowd. They literally sold out the whole entire game. You're playing an in-state opponent with a ranked game next week. You've got the first game with a new transfer quarterback in a new system. No, I don't take anything away from State for this. Now, if they were to have lost that game, yes, then it is all panic going forward. But that fourth quarter, they came out and showed that, hey, we're a damn good football team. But up until that third quarter, I was getting a little worried.
And obviously this is going to be the game of the night. So
yes, the game of the night. Well, it should be the game of the night. There is one that might rival it here, which is Colorado at Nebraska. Nebraska favored by 7 points, over under set at 57.5. Are you going with the new age Patrick Mahomes and Dylan Raiola, or are you going with Coach Prime and the Buffs?
I would say Nebraska and take that over.
Yeah, I think it soars over. Obviously, they didn't. Colorado was one of my picks last week that I was like, that game, I think we both said it. That game has to go over. It didn't go over. Everybody's going to be wanting to say, oh, Colorado overfucked me last week. I want to go under on this one against Nebraska. No. This is the one that goes over. All right.
And Colorado did not, I mean, sure, Sanders, 445 yards, 4 touchdowns. And yes, Horn was incredible. And Travis Hunter, also incredible, making some, I mean, that last catch he made for a touchdown when he was being mugged. Incredible athlete.
Future Patriot.
Yep, future Patriot. They didn't though. I thought Colorado should have handled that game better than they did. It
Way
was
better,
close. Yeah. So I think against Nebraska, I think both will be an incredible shootout, and a lot of points.
Yeah. And then last one of the night that I'm going to throw at you. This one, just because it's a little more regional, I think it's going to be a good game. App State travels to Clemson, -17 Clemson, over under set at 51.5. Give me all of App State plus 17. Give it all to me.
Yeah,
give it all.
Absolutely. That's way too many points.
That is way too many points. All right. Well, that gets us through week 2 then. So that's all. We went through a lot of games there. There's going to be a bunch of other picks and stuff that I'm sure we'll make. Are you still making picks and putting them up on your Pickett?
No, I got to get back into that.
Yeah, I'd say do that and go follow us over on Pickett. Dad is what you're just at OG Frid, and mine is at Fryddy. Just like our names in the description of the podcast and stuff. If you'd like to keep up with any of our betting picks that we don't talk about on the podcast, obviously we do this every Monday morning and try to look ahead at football and stuff like that now that we're getting into football. But there will be picks that we like throughout the week that we don't talk about here. If you'd like to tell us and keep up with what we're betting on and try to stay on those too, go ahead and follow us over there. Keep up with that. That'd be fun stuff.
Not that this is a betting podcast, or if you do,
no, but we do. But we do bet.
There is an 800 number out there for you.
Yeah, call the number if you need it.
I feel like we have to say that.
Oh yeah, right. It's like a disclaimer. All right, so we'll move into our last
betting. Yeah, if a sports betting app out there, or somebody wants to,
sportsbook
sponsor us. Yeah, sportsbook wants to.
Yeah, then we'll stop saying the number.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving from college to NFL. Dad, it's here. It's here. It's finally here. It's finally fucking here. We have finally got to the week. Our fantasy football starts this week. Finally, everything is back. The world is healing. Football is here. It is the best time of the year. And let's look at the team that the Patriots are going to bring into the 2024 season. I'm going to go through these cuts. There's probably going to be a couple surprises or anything. If you had anybody that got that you saw got cut that you were surprised by, let me know. And if there was anybody that you thought should have made the team or shouldn't have made the team and didn't, let me know there. I know there were some guys we talked about last week that we're going to kind of overlap on, but now we've got it finalized. So quarterbacks, we knew this was happening. Bailey Zappi was the only one cut. We've got Brissett, May, Milton, and Brissett was named the starter. We're pretty happy about this quarterback room, right? This is exactly what we thought.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah, enjoy it. I know that Brissett did win the battle. I'm gonna say but I think by week 3, it's not that he loses or they want to do something. I think it's because of an injury.
It could be. I hope it's not week 3 though. I want to get like I've talked about. God, we've got such a gauntlet to start the year, so it really doesn't help. I would like to get through week 4. If we can get past the 49ers game in San Francisco, and then you let Drake May start at home against the Dolphins. Dolphins are a tough team, don't get me wrong. But I don't want his first game in the NFL to be against the 49ers defense. That's going to be terrible. You get him in there against the Dolphins. Yeah, they're a little tougher, but then you go back if he has a good game. Then you got another home game against the Texans, also a tough team. try to get him really into the rhythm, and then you go over to London to beat the Jaguars, and he gets his first win as a Patriot quarterback.
Now, you never want to be the man that has to replace the man.
Yeah.
And he's not.
He's not. Exactly.
Fortunately for him. I'm going to say history repeats itself in the fact that Tom came in for an injured Drew Bledsoe, and back in that day, his next game was against the San Diego Chargers.
Oh, no, because he got injured against the Jets.
Yeah. And then he had to play the San Diego Chargers. Back in that day, they had the defense, and they were a good team. I'm going to say Drake has to do it again.
You're saying Drake has to play against the Niners, and hey,
that will be his first start.
Do you think he wins it? Do you think we can go wild here? He wins it?
I'm going to say, yeah. Yeah, I know that we already did our project, but
now that we're here, now that they're out there, fuck it.
Now that we're here, we go wild. History will repeat itself. Drake will have to start because he'll have to come in midway through that game or whatnot. Jacoby gets injured, and Drake first NFL start will be against the 49ers with a W.
Hey Siri, remind me on September 29th at 4:05 p.m. to bet Patriots money line and spread. There we go.
There we go. History repeats itself.
So moving on. Now we get the running backs. We only kept 3 on the roster. My guy, Michael Hasty, that I was talking about last week, that I've been loving throughout the preseason, did make it. Surprise cut, and Kevin Harris thought he would still stay on the roster, but Terrell Jennings and Fenwick also got cut. You feeling for Kevin Harris, or is you okay with this running back room?
You know what? If anybody, although I think Fenwick would have been more of a Bill Belichick, as I put in quotation fingers here, back than probably this new offense. I was hoping to see Fenwick because the kid did all right in Oregon State and big bodied.
Because you have him in the dynasty too. You ought to get a little gem.
No, I don't have him in the dynasty. I was looking at him, and I think I did. Yeah, I did drop him, but yeah, I was. I would have thought that kid would have found a role someplace.
Maybe
he'll probably go to Baltimore and do wonderful.
Be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wide receivers. This was surprising. We carried 7. The guys we imagined, DeMario, Polk, Baker, Osborne, all made it. Tyquan, I think we also thought was going to make it. But Rager and Kayshon Boutte both also made it. Kayshon played his way onto the roster with an unbelievable preseason, so I'm not mad by any means about that. I've wanted him to be great because he was such a high sought-after prospect, in high school, 5-star coming into LSU. We're hoping he can rediscover that. But I think it's good we carry this many just in case, a KJ Osborne or a Tyquan Thornton doesn't pan out. Well, okay, then you got Boutte that comes in, and then you got Kendrick Bourne on PUP once he comes back too, that takes back a spot. Are you happy with this wide receiver room and the cuts of Wallace, Baker, and Landers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, those 3 would have had been standouts and next comings of, Rice and Chad Ochocinco or whatever to make this. I think we've markedly improved our wide receiver from a year ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm liking these guys now. Tight ends isn't much different. I think we expected this. Henry, Hooper, Bell, Wilcox, Petway, Warren were cut. I don't have much to say about that. I mean, the tight ends, I think that was pretty cut and dry since the first day of training camp.
It's interesting to see probably Wilcox, and I think he did end up on the practice squad. He will see some time because both Henry and Hooper will be injured at some point during this year.
Yeah, probably. O-line, Andrews, Owenu, Okafor, Lowe, Robinson, Wallace, Leverett, and Jordan. Cole Strange on PUP. Anderson, Maffey, Deesh, Turner, Henry, and Fornadell got cut. We also added some guy right after
we
on
added
waivers.
we added two guys that have to be on through week 4.
Like 4. Yeah, they're not here on the list, but I know
Zach Thomas was one.
Yep.
And there was the other guy.
Oh, also, I said Anderson was cut. Anderson's IR, actually. Matthew started the cuts, which also, just another L for these draft classes, the last couple draft classes from Bill Belichick. Matthew was like a pick from us last year, and we've already cut him. I mean, it just goes to show our draft classes for the last 4 years. You have one good guy, and all the rest have been just shit or cut within 2 years.
Montre Jacobs was claimed tackle from Denver, and that kid is huge. 6'6", I think 312. And
I was seeing some highlights of him.
Zach Thomas is no small boy either, over 6'5", I think. So
hopefully they fit in well. All right, defensive line: Godchow, Wise, Ikeli, Farms, and Hill. Barmore's on NFI. Watts on IR. Roberts, Bradley King, Russell, and Brunson cut. That's nothing new to me here.
Nothing new, but I said this, I think, a couple weeks ago after Baymore's untimely health concerns. Yeah. I'm surprised Lawrence Guy is not getting a phone call yet.
Yeah, maybe he will. Edge, Keon White, Uche, Jennings, and I still don't know how to say this guy's name. O'Shane Zimenez.
Yep, I like that. That was good.
Thanks. Kobe Jones and McCarroll cut.
I'm excited about our edges.
I'm excited about Keon White. I think Keon White and Josh Uche have big ears.
Yeah.
I think they have very big ears.
And I think what's going to happen, obviously, there's not tons of depth on the, traditional nose or D tackles. I think you're going to see Wise playing a lot of inside, which will create a lot of speed mismatches, especially with Keon White and Uche. That's going to be, they're going to, have 8+, both of them 8+ sacks this year.
I was just looking at Wise because I was like, that's interesting because I remember him being an edge. Yeah, I love that, him being on the inside of the D-line. And then even if you need to rotate him out a little bit, you play 4 on the D-line and maybe you got Uche or White standing up as an outside linebacker. You could put Wise on the outside as a DN, and he's got the speed in order to do that and have a couple bigger guys out there for the D-line and stopping the run on those 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 4s where they're going to try to run it up the middle. So I'm liking that. Inside linebacker, Jawan Bentley, Tavai McMillan, and Christian Ellis. Taki on PUP, Giles Harris, and Chambers were cut.
Well, I guess the big talk this week is the kid that we claimed off of waivers from Kansas City, Curtis Jacobs, will be on the team because he has to be there for the next 4 weeks. This kid was Penn State, 6'1", 240, I think, in around. Has speed. They said he's a steal. They were actually looking at trying to get him as an undrafted free agent and went to Kansas City, and now we got him. He had some great Penn State. He had some decent Penn State numbers as well. So, yeah, it was funny when I heard that Gerard's, and kind of funny because Gerard was supposed to be that bigger, back that we would have in the middle, Ted Bruschi type, Mayo, Hightower, and they were saying, and even Bentley, he's a bigger run stuffing middle linebacker, and they were saying that Curtis Jacobs is not that. When I saw his stats at 6'1", but 240+, I was like, he to me sounds like a big run stuffing, but I guess he's very athletic. So I'm going to be excited to see him. He's already got number 52. Already number 52 they gave him.
I like that.
Out of 40s. So, yeah. I like the fact that we give him a 50s number, not a 40s or something. So, yeah.
Cornerbacks. Sorry, I'm dying over here. Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones, Alex Austin, Isaiah Bolden, Marco Wilson, and my boy, Marcellus Dial made the 53-man roster. We cut Sean Wade, Hearn, and Mikey Victor.
Well, Sean Wade, again, will be somewhere on our practice squad, and we'll see some time as he does every year. But I'm really, from years past, we've said it's been our safeties. Unfortunately, with the retirement this past year, and we still have a great, Peppers, Duggar, and when Marte Mapu comes back, I think that's a fantastic safety group right there that you're going to want. But I really think we're going to go with 2 safeties and more with this cornerback depth that we have, put 3 corners back there.
Yeah, Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones is the top 3 corner is a scary unit that I would not like to be thrown to. You kind of touched on it right there with the safeties, but Duggar, Peppers, Hawkins, Schuler, and Del Pettis make it. Mapu on IR, AJ Thomas, and Joshua Bledsoe cut. Also, once again, no real surprises there.
No, not at all. And again, I think the alignment is going to be, until Mapu comes back, your alignment will not have that 3 safety look that we've done from years past. It's going to be more cornerback related. Again, Jonathan Jones, I think eventually we'll see him probably move into a safety role. I think he's got that flexibility to do so. Alex Austin will probably take over his spot, I think, at some point. And when doing so, you just move Jonathan Jones into a safety and be able to take, Jarrell Peppers, love him, but I don't think he's definitely an 80 play kind of guy. You might see 50, 60. And if that's the case, I bet you'll see Jones as a free safety.
It'd be interesting. I don't know if I want him out there, though. I like Jonathan Jones on the corner. All right. And then lastly, what to me personally, outside of the Kevin Harris, JaMychal Hasty running back situation, was probably the biggest surprise out of these cuts. Specialists, Joey Sly, Bryce Behringer, Joe Cardona. Chad Ryland loses the job to Joey Sly. Another miss from one of these previous draft class. They're saying on Patriots.com, though, they're saying, hey, New England did the right thing by wearing this one on the chin, but they passed on some good football players to select Ryland in the 2023 draft, so that's a tough pill to swallow. Definitely is, but it's definitely what was needed. However, Chad Ryland, thank you. We will never forget all of your missed kicks against the Giants and the Broncos that helped us select Drake May. So thank you for your contribution to the New England Patriots franchise. You will not be forgotten as a shit kicker. Claps all around.
Yeah. Just lost the Zen.
Nice. All right. Well, that's the whole 53-man roster, though. So that leads me to what I believe. Let me see. Check the agenda. Yeah. We get to week 1. Let's look at some NFL lines, then.
Before we do week 1, I know you said, let's do our South.
You want to do South? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that first.
I think it just makes sense. Yeah.
It does. All right. So let's start off AFC South here. I got to get some more of those pictures up before this week so we have all those up on Instagram and shit. All right. AFC South. Can I find an AFC South team? Here we go. Let's start out with the Houston Texans.
Yeah. So I have the same reaction. Hanson, again, was late at doing his pick, so he jumped on and did them while we're ready to start this podcast. So obviously we're up here on video and just talking. and I had the same reaction you had. They have a hell of a fucking schedule.
Yeah, and at the end of the year too. Oh man.
Yeah.
You got from fucking week 9 Jets, week 10 Lions, week 11 Cowboys. Then you got Titans, Jags, not too bad, but then you come back after the bye week to Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore.
Yeah.
And then a Tennessee game that you might need to win for the division. Pull.
I have them at 9-8.
Okay. I got them 10-7. But I also could have had them at 9-8. I mean, this is, a lot of people are hyped behind the Texans, and I had a lot of hype behind the Texans. Their win total on DraftKings, last time I checked, was set at 9.5. And a couple months ago, one of those got dropped. I saw that, and I was like, dude, no way the Texans don't win 10 games. I might throw a nuke on that one. Now I'm looking at the schedule, and I could see a world in which they don't win 10 games. So I know why that's set at 9.5 now.
I think it's going to be the reverse of, it's your sophomore jinx. In both cases with a coach and quarterback. I think you're hyped, great quarterback. Defenses will learn a little bit more against you this year. Not saying, I still have them over 500, but I don't have them winning the division. Little tease right there.
Yeah. So here, if you're listening, those people holding or getting ready to hold a CJ Stroud MVP ticket or a CJ Stroud Houston Texans to win the AFC South ticket.
Yeah.
Hold the phone real quick. Press the brakes.
Yeah.
I know we love the hype of the Texans and CJ Stroud, and it's flashy, and they got Stephon Diggs and all this. Yeah, they might not even win their division. Let's move on to Tennessee Titans, who fucking blow.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough year for them.
Yeah, I got them at 5-12.
I have them 4-13. I wish I would see them do a little bit better. For whatever reason, I kind of like this club. I like this team, but they're not going to do well this year.
Yeah. All right. Move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
They have their new stadium to look forward to. That thing's going to look nice. Jaguars, Jags, 7-10.
Okay.
I still don't think they pull it all together. Love Doug Peterson. I just don't think they pull it all together.
I know. I'm right with you. I was looking for an opportunity doing this to try to get them to win the division. I just can't see the Jags getting above that hump. I got them 8-9. And then last one, Indianapolis Colts. I would imagine this is your AFC South winner then.
At 10-7.
Okay. I've got them 9-8. So I've got the whole division, Texans, Colts, Jags, all within 2 games. It's going to come down to the end of the year. It's going to be very tight. But at least for the Jags and the Colts, the reason I have the Jags 8-9 and the Colts 9-8, I had it flipped, and then I went back and actually gave that Week 18 game, Colts against the Jags in Indianapolis. I gave that to the Colts. So, if it comes down that the Texans end up, losing 1 or 2 more, it could be the Colts that win it, even at 9-8, where a lot of people were thinking like the NFC South, which we're about to get to, would be one of the worst divisions or one of the tightest. This might be one of the tightest. I don't know if it's one of the worst. I think they all just a lot of, balance.
Yeah, they're going to beat up. Yeah, the top 3 teams will beat up on each other in those head-to-head matches that they have. So I think that this division and the way I have it and the way you have it against all the other ones is definitely going to be the tightest division in football this year.
Yeah, you're talking about beating up on each other. I think I had Colts, Jags, Texans, because they play twice. I have them all splitting 1-1.
Yeah.
And I think I have them all beating the Titans. I think I have the Titans going 1-6. I think I have them beating the Jags once, though. Just on a weird one.
Yeah. Me too.
Okay, now NFC South. I don't even need this up. I'm just going to go to the scores and stuff for week 1. NFC South. Let's start off with womp womp, the Carolina Panthers.
3-14.
I got them 3-14 too, and I was honestly looking for ways to get them to 3. They might win 2 games. They might go 0-17. I don't know. I had to give them 3 though, because even they were really bad last year. Don't get me wrong, and they're going to be pretty bad this year too. But even last year's team won 3 games, I think. So as bad as the team may look on paper going into the season, we got to remember it is equally as hard to go 0-17 as it is 17-0. It really is. I mean, we haven't had it happen since the Lions in 08 or whatever. So they'll win some weird ones. They'll win 3, but 3-14, I think they don't win any more than that. All right, Saints.
I have them 6-11.
I have them 8-9. I don't feel good about it. I really think that the Saints are going to be really bad this year. I don't know how I got them to 8-9. I think it's going to be a lot of like 1-score games, a lot of just wins that they pull out. But I think at the end of the year, we're going to look at all the records and say, record aside, which teams are some of the worst, and the Saints will be bottom 5.
Yeah, and you're going to have a David Carr injury, and you're going to have to look at Spencer Rattler, or Derek Carr, sorry. David was his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr injury, Spencer will have to come in.
Yeah, probably. All right, let's go to Tampa. Let's go down south to Florida.
8-9.
All right, so we differ here. I got them 11-6. I think the Bucks are sneaky. I think Baker. I like Baker. I like Baker in Tampa. I think that a lot of people are just gifting this division to the Falcons, and I think the Bucks are going to put up a real fight. I don't know who I have winning, because a good transition right over to Atlanta. I also have them 11-6. I can't remember the tiebreakers or if I had them splitting. I think I have them splitting 1-1. So NFC South might be a little weird, but
I have Atlanta 10-7 and winning it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we've got some differences here, but kind of along the same line, except for the Bucks and which was the other one that we're really different on? Was it the Jags? No, you have them 7-10. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no, New Orleans.
We're kind of New Orleans. Yeah. All right. Good stuff. So that's all. We have now done all 32 teams of the last 4 weeks. We have done our record predictions for all 32 teams. I need to make sure. I think I need to go back and write down the ones from last week, because I think I accidentally deleted it. But I'll keep up with those so that throughout the year, once we get to the end, we can see who's closer on all of them. But
and we have the gentleman's bet. Who's closer?
Yep. Gentleman's bet on who's closer will be a round of golf. All right. Let's now move over to NFL Week 1. Let's try to power through this. I don't think we got 16 games? Let's go through all of them. Fuck it. It's Week 1. We got time.
Yeah.
Football's back. All right. Biggest game of the week. Ravens, Chiefs on Thursday. The kickoff. The defending champions host the Ravens in an AFC Championship rematch. The Chiefs are favored by 3 points. Total is set at 46.5. Dad, to open up the year, where are you leaning on this Thursday night game?
I'm taking the Chiefs. They will not be let down like they were last year with their first game of the season, hoisting the second in a row banner. I got the Chiefs.
See, every part of me wants to take Baltimore +3. I think it's probably me just hating the Chiefs. And the fact that I have the Ravens as a Super Bowl winner in a championship parlay with 4 other champions, the MLB World Series, the college football Super Bowl, and March Madness. But if there's anything I've learned over these last 2 years with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, it is that you don't bet against them. And is there a world in which I think the Chiefs drop 2 straight Thursday night openers, unveiling their banner on their road to three-peat champions? There's just no way. I don't like 3 points. I might buy it down and buy 2.5 and take a little juice on it so I can get a 3 point, the field goal hook. But yeah, you don't bet against the Chiefs here, man. You don't. They don't drop this one after dropping last year's against the Lions week 1. They just don't do it. It doesn't happen. All right. Total, you got to lean there. I might say under
What was
23-17, 46 and a half.
Yeah, I would go under.
I go under. First game of the year, big lights.
Little jitters.
Little jitters, little emotional, unveiling the banner, tight game, AFC rematch. These teams still know each other. Ravens still have the sour taste in their mouth. They're going to want to keep it close. Yeah. And with Derrick Henry back there in the backfield, going to be running the ball even more than they already do, running down the clock. New offensive coordinator in Baltimore. A lot of things that I think just point to the under. All right. First Friday night game to start off a year. This is awesome. We get our Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. Packers and Eagles in Brazil. Eagles favored by 3 points. Total is set at 48.5. Under.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
In Brazil, everybody's traveling. There's a lot of jitters about the fact that the fucking NFL is sending 2 primarily green teams to a part of the world in which green is a gang affiliated color. There's a lot. There's just a lot behind this game. Yeah. Weird Thursday night game in Brazil. Really good, tough teams. NFC competitors. Going to be another tight game just like Thursday. This screams under to me as well. I'm not touching the spread, though. I don't know. I'd like to say Packers and buy into the Jordan Love hype, but that also might just be because once I go with the Chiefs, I'm hating on the Eagles.
Yeah. I would still say I think the Eagles cover.
Gotcha. All right, moving on to Sunday, 1:00. Patriots, Bengals. Bengals favored by 9 points. Over under is set at 40.5.
The Bengals, but I don't know if it'll be 9.
I know. If Drake May was starting this game, I would take New England plus 9. I think we would keep it within. With Jacoby, I think there's going to be. I think we'll do some stuff in the second half to stay in it. I think we're going to start off really slow. I think there's going to be a couple 3 and outs. I think it's going to be a lot of pound the ball, run. Don't really give Jacoby the opportunity to fuck up and throw some interceptions. So I don't think we're going to be moving it as much. It could end up being. It's probably Cincinnati minus 9. This could be like a 24-10 game, but I think it's just the under. They might score a lot. Actually, I don't even think they will because I think our defensively, we're going to be all right enough to keep them. Yeah. So I think this is an under, and sadly, I just don't think we score that many points. Maybe, actually, they've got to have a pretty high team total. Let me go look. I might just go Bengals team total under. Let me look at this. NFL. You've got to have lines up, DraftKings. We are less than a week away from NFL.
I thought Patriots will score 17 points.
17?
Yeah.
17 just seems a little high to me. I don't know. Thinking defensive?
We'll have a defensive.
It's actually 8.5 points on DK.
Yep.
Team props. And I got
40.5.
Yeah, and Bengals team total is 24.5. You can get under 25.5 for 118. Oh man. And then Pat's team total is sitting there at over under 15.5. It might be a Pat's team total under, actually. I can see it at 14. Just set up 14 points. All right. 1:00, Steelers, Falcons. Falcons favored by 3 at home. Total is 42.5.
Falcons, but I think I might go the under. I don't think Pittsburgh offensively will do anything, but I don't know if the Falcons can then as well put all that up. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the tight end.
With Pitts?
Does Pitts end up having? Does Cousins find a way to make him a player this year?
Yeah,
And
I think he
score
does.
more than 3 touchdowns he's had. You said in his career.
I think so
far?
in his career. I'm taking Atlanta -3. I think this one's pretty easy to me. At home, Kirk Cousins' first game. I think they win it. I think they win it pretty well. I also, like you're saying, I don't think the Steelers' offense is doing much here. They're still in a weird limbo spot. They don't even know what they're doing. 1 o'clock, Cardinals, Bills. Bills -6, total 48.5. Why is this -6? You take Bills -6 to the fucking bank. They're winning this game by a touchdown.
Yeah.
At least. That might be the easiest one on the board.
And yet again, I don't know if I'd go over.
I probably wouldn't. I'm not touching. I'm just taking Bills -6. I'm seeing some lines here that I'm going to go right after this and make a week 1 parlay with some of my favorite ones. All right, Titans at the Bears. Chicago is favored by 4 points. Over under 4.5.
Yeah, I think the Bears, and I think they'll cover.
I don't know. I kind of hate this game. I kind of really hate this game. I don't know. I don't think I like anything here. I maybe take. What's the line on it? Let me see what the lines on Caleb Williams in his first NFL game are. That would be something I might attack here. Bears. All right. Passing props. We got Caleb Williams over under 241.5. And you got Caleb Williams over under 17.5 rushing yards. That's it. It's over 17.5 rushing yards for Caleb Williams. That's the play. That's beautiful. I'm loving some of these lines. Oh my God. Oh, we're gonna rake up in week 1 of NFL here, man. Oh, this is great. Texans at Colts. Texans favored by 2.5, over under 49.5. Let me just mention, by the way, too, for anybody listening, these lines that I'm reading are all coming straight from ESPN Bet because I'm reading them from ESPN, but you can find all these lines anywhere. DK is probably going to be your best for NFL season because I think they're the NFL partner. They're going to have probably your best bets and bonuses all throughout the year.
And actually, I'm looking at CBS Sports and the line. I mean, very similar right now. So, yeah, we already said it. This division, you take out of those top 3 teams, you take the home team.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I'd go. Man. You know what? I'll do it with you. I'll go Indy plus 2.5. I'll go Indy money line. You know what? Fuck it. I'll go Indy money line, but 49.5. I'm taking under. This is 20. This has 24-21 written all over it. These AFC South games all over it. Field goal right at the end. All right. Battle of Florida here. Jaguars at Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 3.5 points. Total is set at 49.5.
Definitely take the Dolphins, and I think you take the over.
I'm right there with you. I think this soars over. I think Dolphins -3.5 might be one of the best bets on the week too. They might roll in this game. I'm saying like 34-17. That barely hits your over, but yeah, I'm taking Dolphins -3.5. Panthers against Saints. Saints favored by 4. Total is set at 41.5. This is a disgusting game. This fucking sucks.
Yeah. And you know what? Being here in Carolina, this game is going to be on.
Everywhere.
So we're going to have to watch that.
Well, I don't know. I'm watching Red Zone.
Saints will cover and take the under.
I'm probably not betting this game. I do like the under the best out of it, but I think you take Panthers +4. I think it's weird.
Right.
I think it could be. I don't know if they win it. but this could be a field goal game. Don't bet that. Just don't bet that game at all. I mean, if you're going to bet anything, bet the under, but don't bet anything in that game. Stay away from that. Vikings at Giants. Vikings actually favored by 1.5 points. Total is set at 41.5.
Interesting. Does Sam Darnold be able to pull out a win against the Giants? I mean, really, what do the Giants have that you don't have your running back anymore? You have Devin Singletary, your featured back.
Sounds like you're going Vikings.
I would go Vikings and the under.
All right, I'm going to blow your mind. It's Giants money line here, Dad. It's Giants money line. Sam Darnold's not going to be able to do it. I can trust some of the defensive pieces on the Giants enough to make some plays. Daniel Jones, hopefully Neighbors is going to be able to revive him in that offense a little bit. Offensive line still going to be a trouble. Singletary obviously is not your Saquon Barkley, so not going to react do too much on the ground, but he'll do enough. I think they're going to be able to move the ball enough. This is not going to be super high scoring. I'm not going to attack the over, though, because that number is just sitting there. Really weird to me why this game has the same total as like Panthers Saints and Broncos Seahawks. That something screams weird to me there, but I think Giants win this game. All right, now we're moving on to a 4:00 slate. We got Raiders at Chargers. Chargers favored by 3 points. Total is set at 40.5.
Definitely the Chargers. Harbaugh's era, and they're going to be up for it. Justin Herbert will have an incredible game. You know what? Maybe even the over.
I'm looking here because I'm looking for another prop. I'm big prop guy here. And fuck. Damn, I was really hoping they were going to have some Ladd McConkey props up here. I would have taken the over on Ladd McConkey's yards. I could get a Ladd McConkey anytime touchdown scorer at 300. You know what? Fuck it. We'll give out a touchdown line. Ladd McConkey plus 300 anytime touchdown scorer this week. I think in his first week, I think he's going to be the target. I might not throw it in my favorite bets parlay because I don't like relying on anytime touchdown scores, but I like Ladd. I think Herbert forces him and becomes his favorite target early this year. You get a Ladd McConkey touchdown. And yeah, you take Chargers -3. Broncos at Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 6 points. Total is set at 41.5. This line is so wrong. It is Broncos +6.
Yep, absolutely. I'm looking at CBS. They have it at 5.5 and 42. And even at that, yeah, I would take the Broncos.
Yeah, Seahawks are going to be bad. Seahawks should not be getting 6 points on anybody this year, even at home. Because even with that, with the 3 points they give you as a home team, they're thinking the Seahawks are 3 points better than the Broncos. And even then, I don't know. I would say 1.5 points. This line should be Seattle -3.5. And then I would feel weird because then you get like the hook. But all right. Probably this is going to be the game of the week for 425. Yeah, it's on Fox. This will be that one. Cowboys at Browns. Great game. You got Browns favored by 2.5 points, over under 42.5.
I think Dallas. I would take Dallas and the points.
I don't know. I don't know what to do here. I think you go. How are these guys doing in the preseason? I know preseason don't matter too much. Cowboys sucked. Browns lost them all. Put up some points, though. Got some points put up on them. I'll go over. I feel like that number is just a little too low. I don't know if I'm going to pick a side here, though, because I could see a script in which the Cowboys win. I could see a script in which the Browns win this, too. But I'll go over. It's going to be a great game, though. It's going to be a really good game. Ezekiel Elliott, anytime touchdown. He'll fall in for one on the goal line.
Yeah.
And hold on. Before I say this, I want to see the line. the new Mr. Moneybags himself. What's the lines on CD Lamb? We've got CD over under 83.5. It's really high.
Yeah.
But they got nobody there. I think he goes for 100. I think he could go over that. You thinking lower?
I'm thinking lower. I'm thinking like 75.
Okay. Again, last one from 4. We got Commanders at Bucks. Bucks favored by 3.5. Total 43.5. Going to be 90 degrees in Tampa with some chance for, it looks like thunderstorms. Is that it? What's this, Sunday? Cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. Or Sunday. Yeah. 60% chance. Real feel of 99. It's going to be hot.
You know what? And I'm not sure if this is how I played it out, but thinking about it, I think Jaden Daniels, who played in the Heat and LSU in Louisiana, I think they win.
I don't know if they win. I don't know if I'm going to take the 3.5, but I like what you're saying about Jaden and the Heat. I'm thinking I'm leaning over here. I think Jaden Daniels has a nice first game that the offense is going to be moving. What I'm looking for is a team total on the Commanders is set at over under 20.5. That's kind of high, but I think they could score 3 touchdowns. I don't mind the over on the Commanders there.
Yeah, I don't either.
If you don't think, if you're like me thinking, they'll put up points, but you don't know if they win, I think you attack the team total more.
Yeah.
And then last game of week 1, a great one to end off on.
No, you forgot the Rams and Lions.
Oh, sorry, that was at the top here. Okay, second to last game. Rams, Lions. Lions favored by 3.5. Total set at 50.5.
So I was on ESPN. They had this about couple games to pick of the week. And I read that Sean McVay is 7-0 week 1 away games.
Against the spread or just straight up?
Straight up. And going in, I was excited to take the Lions again. And then reading that got me a little leery. And I have 3.5, 51. Is that what it is?
I have 3.5, 50.5.
Okay. So after reading that, I think the Lions pull it out, but I would take at 3.5, I would take the Rams.
I'm also taking Rams plus 3.5. If you're giving me the hook there, yeah, I think the Rams could win this game. I don't know if the Lions pull it out. I know it's at home. I know they're a good team. I know we all liked the Lions last year. They were the darling team, America's team last year doing all this. But I think we can't hype them up too much here. You're going against the team that you knocked out of the playoffs last year. They still got that in the back of their minds. I think, Cooper Kupp is back. He's back to being Stafford's guy. You got Puka that came out and is just another Kupp. I think their offense is going to be very lethal this year. Sneaky lethal from the Rams. Kyron Williams, I think, is going to have a great game. I'm really talking myself more into the Rams winning this one, but I love Rams plus 3.5.
Yep.
Okay, and now the last one. The New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers traveled to San Francisco. San Fran favored by 3.5 points. Total is set at 43.5 for this Monday night matchup.
How did Aaron do when he was a Packer? Those were always great games.
What are you saying? Well, yes, but the 49ers always had his number.
Yeah. And I think they still will.
I do too. I don't like 3.5 because it could be a 3-point game, but I probably take Niners minus 3.5 and Monday night game, West Coast. Can this make it to 44 total points?
I don't think so.
Part of
I think
me,
you take
part
the
of
under.
me says yes, but also my head says no. These are great defensive teams. I think you take the under.
Yeah, like 21-17.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, we'll go under, but I think I like Niners minus 3.5 more there. Well, I found a bunch of good lines. I'm gonna go make a great parlay that I'm gonna ride for week 1 that y'all probably heard all the picks of here. But like we mentioned earlier, if you'd like to keep up with the parlay, I'll probably post it on Twitter or something. But if not, go follow us on Pickett at FRYDDY and at OG Frid, OG FRID. You can follow our picks all throughout the college football year and the NFL year. See if we can get a little Pickett plug. That'd be a cool sponsorship there. And keep up with all of our terrible bets and parlays that won't hit throughout the year until they do. All right, Dad. That is everything I had.
Have you found a app that we're going to do the picks? Okay.
No. I don't know how we're going to do it. No, I'm running out of time. I'll have to figure it out.
Well, we could just do our own.
We'll do our own, obviously, but
we'll do our own little spread. We'll do picks, and I guess if you're interested to see if you can beat us, just put it in the comments or email us your picks.
Yeah, that would be great. We can keep up with them that way. All right. Well, if you guys would like to keep up with us on social media, at A New Era Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, A New Era Podcast on Facebook, A New Era Podcast at gmail.com. If you'd like to email us any questions, concerns, or funny business, we appreciate you guys listening in to, what did I say, episode 35 of A New Era Podcast. What?
Aren't we going to talk about Scotty Scheffler?
What do you want to say about Scotty? He won. We knew this was going to happen.
His dominant performance.
But go ahead. I mean, you got the floor. We all knew this was going to happen with Scotty, though. I don't know.
I mean, we knew it, but a round of 65, 66, 66, and 67, incredible.
That's the thing, though. He's so good that you say those numbers to me, and it doesn't even blow my mind because I know it's Scotty Scheffler.
And Colin had to have the best round of the tournament. Second day at 63, and still 4 away from him.
Scotty, it doesn't even blow my mind. It's Scotty. Like, that's why I don't even feel like we had to talk about it.
All right. So I'm contemplating doing this. And your sister said I shouldn't because people will probably not listen to our podcast after I do this. But me being a dad, me loving bad dad jokes, I'm going to try and do a bad dad joke, sports related. I don't know if I can get one every week, but I got one for you.
Go at it.
All right. 3 golf clubs go into a bar. The putter orders a beer. The wedge orders a tequila. What about the third?
The club.
Well, the third one doesn't order anything because it's the driver.
That's going to conclude episode 35 of A New Era Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. And if you stayed through that joke, holy shit, get a drink or something. That was terrible. Or don't if you're the driver. Yeah, that was stupid. That was dumb. Let's not do those. All right.
I guess that was a one and only segment. Okay.
Yeah, that threw me for a whole whirl. Now I don't even know how to get out of here.
Love you, son.
Yeah, love you, Dad. Catch you guys next week for episode 36. Good luck in NFL Week 1 this week. I hope you hit your bets. May all your bets hit. May all your teams win. We'll see you next week.